morning, dear students. We have completed chapter force and pressure and friction. Today we will revise the chapter. The first chapter, force and pressure. The name of the chapter is force and pressure. What do you mean by force? A push or pull on an object is known as force. When we push any object or when we pull any object, that is known as force. The second term in the name of chapter is pressure. The force per unit area is known as pressure. The formula of pressure is equal to force upon area. From this formula we can derive the definition also. Force per unit area. Force divided by area is known as pressure. And the SI unit of pressure is Pascal. It is denoted by PA. So pressure, force per unit area is known as pressure and its unit is Pascal, denoted by PA. A push or pull on an object known as force and its SI unit is Newton. It is denoted by capital N. So a push or pull on an object known as force and force per unit area is known as pressure. Now about force, we have formula of force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. M mass and A acceleration. So force is the product of mass and acceleration. You can write the second definition. Force is the product of mass and acceleration. In numerical, instead of acceleration, we can use gravity. Gravity is also an acceleration. The unit of acceleration is meter per second square and the unit of mass is kilogram. So the another unit of force is kilogram meter per second square. And mass into gravity is also a formula of force. From these formulas we can find force. So now we will discuss what a force can do. It means what are the effects of a force. कि force क्या क्या कर सकता है. So we will discuss about these with some examples. First thing, a force can move a stationary object. Suppose this pen is in rest position. When an object not change its position with respect to surrounding and time, it is said to be in rest. Now it is in rest. When I push it, it changes its position. So a force can move a stationary object. When I pull it, again its position will change. So a force can change the position of an object. Means if the object is in rest, then it start moving. Second, if the object is moving, then force can stop that object. How can you say that? When we are playing football, the player kicks the ball. When the player kicks the ball start moving, and when goalkeeper catches the ball, after catching, goalkeeper exerts force, and by exerting force, the ball stops. So force can stop a moving object also. Third, force can change the direction. We all know about cricket. In cricket, when the bowler bowls, the batsman hits the ball, and when batsman hits the ball, the direction of the ball changes. When batsman hits the ball, it means batsman exert a force. So by exerting the force, direction can be changed. Fourth, a force can change shape and size of an object. Means when we press the balloon, the shape of the balloon changes and its size also changes. So by applying force, we can change shape and size of an object. Fifth, a force can stop a moving object, or force can increase or decrease the speed. Suppose if a ball is moving, if a football is moving, then if a player kicks on the football, then its speed increases, and when we want to reduce speed, we exert a less amount of force. So by exerting force, we can increase or we can decrease the speed of an object. So these are the formulas of force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration, mass into gravity. This formula is given by Newton, and this also defines second law of Newton. The formula of pressure is equal to force upon area. So by using these formulas, we can solve numericals. Now we will discuss about the type of force. Mainly we have two types of force: contact force and non-contact force. As the name describes, when two objects are in contact and they exert force on each other, then the forces are known as contact forces. Suppose I want to push this pen, without touching I cannot push. So the muscular force, the force exerted by our muscles known as muscular force, that is the example of contact force. So contact force, when two objects are in contact and when they exert force on each other, then the force is known as contact force. Non-contact force also the same as the name described. When two objects are not in contact and they exert force on each other, then the force is known as non-contact forces. When two forces are not in contact and they exert force on each other, then the forces are known as non-contact forces. You all are known about magnet. When we bring a magnet near to magnetic materials, the materials which are attracted by a magnet known as magnetic materials. So when we bring a magnet near to the magnetic materials, the magnet attract the pieces of the magnetic material or pieces of iron. Why? Without contact the magnet attract the pieces. It means that is the example of non-contact force. We will pull, push, muscular force, frictional force. These are the example of contact force. Frictional force, a force which opposes the motion of an object known as friction force. Non-contact force, magnetic force, force of gravity. When we throw any object in upward direction, it comes down. Why it comes down? Due to the force of gravity. So gravitational force is also example of non-contact force, and electrostatic force is also an example of non-contact force. What is electrostatic force? In our childhood we have done an activity. When we rub the scale in our hairs, the scale attracts the small pieces of paper. Why the scale attracts the pieces of paper? Because when we rub the scale gets charged and the paper are uncharged, and a charged body attracts uncharged body. So due to that, that force is known as electrostatic force. The force exerted by the charge is known as electrostatic force. So these are the example of non-contact, magnetic, electrostatic, and gravitational. Contact force, muscular force, friction force. About friction we have another chapter. Sorry. The force exerted by the muscles known as muscular force. The force which opposes the motion of an object known as frictional force. Magnetic force, a force which is exerted by the magnet around it, that is known as magnetic force. Electrostatic force, the force exerted by the charges known as electrostatic force. Gravitational force, the force of attraction between two objects known as gravity or gravitational force. We have a force that is known as the resultant force. Resultant force means the sum of all the forces which are exerted on an object, that is known as resultant force. Suppose this is an object. Three forces are exerted on it, F1, F2 and F3. Then sum of all resultant force is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3. Sum of all the forces is known as resultant force. If the forces are applied from another side, then we have to subtract that. Suppose if a fourth force is exerted in this direction, F4, then we have to write plus minus F4. Why we use this minus sign? Because this fourth force or F force is exerted in opposite direction, so we use minus sign here. Now sum of all the forces known as resultant force. According to resultant force, we have two type of forces: balanced forces and unbalanced forces. Balanced forces, if the resultant force is 0, then the forces are known as the resultant force. If the value of F1 is 1, F2 2 and F3 3, total is 7, and the value of F4 is 7. So when we add them, we will get 0. Now these all forces are known as balanced forces. When the resultant force is 0, then the forces which are exerted on an object known as resultant force. Balanced forces, when two or more forces are exerted on an object and their resultant force is 0, then the forces are known as balanced force. Unbalanced forces, when two or more forces are exerting on an object and their resultant force is not equal to 0, then the forces are known as unbalanced force. Here resultant force will never be equal to 0. So if resultant force is equal to 0, then the forces are known as balanced force, and if the resultant force is not equal to 0, then the forces are known as unbalanced force. By this example we can see this: if value of F1, F2, F3 is 1, 2, 3 and F4 is 7, then the resultant will be 0. So these forces are known as balanced force. If the value changes, resultant F1 1, F2 2 and F3 3, and the value of F4 is 6, so here we will get 1 Newton. The resultant force is not equal to 0. Now these forces are known as unbalanced force. So now up to now we have discussed what is force, types of force, what a force can do, or what are the effects of force. We will discuss about the unit of force. The SI unit is Newton. Standard international unit is Newton. If you want to write CGS unit, then CGS unit is dyne, and 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to power 5 dyne. So from this relation you can convert the CGS unit into SI unit and SI unit into CGS unit. Now we will discuss about pressure. Force per unit area is known as pressure. Pressure is inversely proportional to area and directly proportional to force. It means if the value of force increases, then pressure will increase. If the value of force decreases, then pressure will decrease. If the value of area increases, then pressure will decrease. If the value of area increases, then pressure will decrease. So pressure is inversely proportional to area. Related to this, we will discuss some example. With the help of a sharp knife, we can easily cut the vegetables and fruit, but it is difficult to cut with blunt knife. Why? Because when the knife is sharp, the area of contact is small, and when the area is small, then the pressure will be high, so it can be easily cut. Why the tip of the needle is sharp? Because if the needle is sharp, then the area of contact will be less, so more pressure will be exerted and it will easily enter into clothes. Why the tip of the nail is sharp? Because the area of contact is small, so it will exert a large amount of pressure and it will easily stuck into the walls. Why the rear wheels of the tractor are broader? Because tractors we are using in field, when they are broader, the area of contact will be more, they will exert less pressure, so they will not stuck into the ground. A camel can easily walk in desert while a horse cannot. Why? Because in camel the foot is flat and area of contact is more, so it will exert a less amount of pressure, so it will not stuck into the ground and a camel can easily walk. So these are the examples which are proving that pressure is inversely proportional to area. If area increase, then pressure will decrease. If area decrease, then pressure will increase. Sorry. Now we will discuss about the air pressure. Air also exerts a pressure. The pressure exerted by the air is known as atmospheric pressure. The pressure exerted by the air known as atmospheric pressure, or the pressure exerted by the atmosphere known as atmospheric pressure. Related to atmosphere pressure, we have an example. When we stick a rubber sucker on the window pane, it sticks. Why it sticks? In our cars, we are using rubber sucker that stick on the window pane. Why it sticks? Because window pane or rubber sucker is in this shape. Air is present here. When we put that rubber sucker on the window pane and when we press it, the air comes out. Now there will be no air inside it. Few particles are present, but the air from the outside exert a pressure on it. Due to that, the rubber sucker stick on the window pane. Similarly, thatched roof, we have thatched roof that do not flow with a simple blow of air. Why they don't blow? Because the air exert pressure on it, and due to air pressure, they stays there. So they stays on the walls. So thatched roof and rubber shutter is the example of atmospheric pressure, the pressure exerted by the atmosphere known as atmospheric pressure. We have a device which is used to measure the pressure. The name of the device is barometer. A device which is used to measure pressure, that the device is known as barometer, and barometer is mainly used for measuring the air pressure. Now we will discuss about the pressure exerted by liquids. Now we will discuss about the pressure exerted by liquid. Liquid or water fluids, the things which can flow, they are known as fluids. So in fluids we have air and water both. Now we will discuss about the pressure exerted by the liquid. Suppose this is a container. In this container we have water. It is filled with water. If we make hole in this, then water comes out from these holes. Why the water comes out from these holes? Because the liquid which is present inside the container, that will exert the pressure, same pressure in all direction. Suppose an object is here, then the liquid exerts same pressure from all directions. The pressure exerted in upward direction, that is known as upthrust, and the liquid exerts the same pressure in all directions. Second thing about liquid we have, suppose this is container filled with water. We have made two holes, one at bottom and one at some height. So from which hole the maximum water comes? From the hole which is at bottom. That hole will exert a maximum amount of water, or maximum amount of water flows from this hole. Why? Because the pressure increases with the increase in depth. Here we have this one depth only, and when we reach here, the depth increases. So pressure in liquid increase with increase in the depth. And we have a device which is used to measure pressure in liquid, that is manometer. Manometer is a device which is used to measure pressure in liquids. With the help of manometer we can measure pressure in liquid, and with the help of barometer we can measure pressure of air. So this is the chapter force and pressure. Revise this chapter properly and do the exercise of this chapter. Thank you.